Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. And even though there are already quite a lot of rank 4 champions existing in the game, and we have players with a full profile of rank 4 6 stars, and then there are players who have 1 or 2 just like myself, for vast majority of the player base, first rank 4 is only about to happen. Most of the people who play this game have yet had the chance, are yet to have the chance take their first champion up to rank 4. And that ought to happen in about 2 weeks from now. If you rush in Act 7, final chapter, when it's set to come out. It's not official, it's not announced, but I do have strong suspicion that it is likely going to happen at about 16th of March, when 7.4 goes live. And that is also going to be opportunity for everybody who has explored Act 7 to take up a champion to rank 4. Again, none of this is confirmed. It's all based on leaks, suspicions, and everything else. But I did decide that this is a perfect time to make a video recommending, putting out my recommendations for the best champions to take to rank 4 as your first rank 4 champion. Before I actually go down class per class, few things to kind of note. Picking your first rank 4 is going to be harder than picking your first rank 3. Because when it came to your first rank 3 champions, you were bound by whichever class catalyst you had. That is not necessarily going to be the case with rank 4 champions, which means you will have 6 times more options for most part. Because before, if you had a cosmic catalyst, you had to pick one of the cosmic champions, take to rank 3. There was not much you could do about it. Right now, when you amass 3 tier 6 basics or 3 tier 3 alpha, or if it indeed is going to be a rank up gem, well then, you're gonna be able to pick from all of the classes. That's why it's going to be a bit more confusing for most. But as always, I encourage everybody to remember that this is a game, and ultimately, no matter what I say, no matter what anybody else tells you, this is a game. If there is a champion that you absolutely love and adore and enjoy, rank it up. The bottom line of this game is to have fun, just like with any other. Yeah, there are more competitive players, there are players who care for specific game modes more so than others, there are more pragmatic players who find enjoyment from making the optimal choices, but ultimately this is a game. And if you just want to have fun, don't listen to me, don't listen to anybody else, rank whoever you like and enjoy it. Now, if you are somewhat more pragmatic player though, and if you do plan on play this game for a foreseeable future, or at least for a while, I do advise not to completely forget prestige. I'm not saying rank up top 5 prestige options, which I obviously do recommend for, the most competitive of you, but this video isn't really meant for the most competitive of the players. And even if you're not, in a super top tier alliance, I still advise not to completely abandon prestige. And again, I'm not telling you rank up top 5, top 10 prestige, but if you take a look at the graphs, top 11th in prestige and top 60th in prestige are actually very close. So my advice there is fairly simple. Do not rank up unawakened champions, because if you do, it could affect your profile and your ability to join bigger alliance for foreseeable future until you get another 5 rank 4 6 stars, and who knows how long it will take. And on top of that, there are some amazing champions, which I can completely understand why some people would want to rank up, but I'd still personally advise to perhaps leave them a bit on a back burner. Champions like Ghost has notoriously low prestige. Champions like Omega Red has notoriously low prestige. And you guys know the rest of the ones that I'm talking about, like Hyperion, for instance. Again, this is a game. Do what you want. If you like that champion, don't listen to me. However, if you do also want to kind of future-proof your account, and if you want to make sure that you don't necessarily get stuck, or when you want to move to a higher alliance, you're able to do so, I recommend at the very least noting which champions are at the very bottom of prestige, and avoid those, and pick at the very least from kind of like middle upwards. Because there are a lot of champions that are very close in their prestige these days. Lastly, and this is going to also be a personal point, you want to use your rank 4 as much as possible. So think about that also, even if you like some champion, think about how much you really use that champion. And I have two completely countery rank ups on my own account. I have Dr. Doom and I have Hercules. Now, I spend majority of the time on my account running Liquid Courage Double Edge because it's easier for Arena, it's easier for my AQ teams, and last couple of seasons it has also been better for me Alliance War offensively. Yes, I do have to switch them on and off, but still, majority of the time on my account I have Liquid Courage Double Edge active. Which means Hercules is a beast, and I use him every day in Alliance Quest, in quests, and any new challenging content, stuff like that. But at the same point, it also means that I don't really use my Dr. Doom much. And I knew it, and I don't regret that rank up, and there were different considerations to be taken in, like Prestige, like Alliance War Defense, or Alliance War Offense, and Doom is a powerhouse, and he is a great rank up. However, from the perspective of how much I'm actually benefiting from that rank 4, aside from Prestige, well, Doom has had a very little impact. Hercules has had loads, because I actually use Hercules every day. So when you pick your champion, make sure that that is a champion that you don't only just like, have fun and enjoy, but only someone that you play consistently with. All that being said, let's jump up to Aunt May, and we're going to go through class per class. I'm going to go class per class. So we're going to start with the science class, as we often do with these videos. And with science class, again, I started talking about mastery specifically because I will quite often distinguish in between which I consider to be best options if you primarily run Liquid Courage Double Edge or if you don't. So if you don't run Liquid Courage Double Edge, I personally think that Mr. Fantastic is a phenomenal champion. Where is he? Mr. Fantastic is a phenomenal first rank 4, absolutely powerful, and his increase in combat power rate, everything, so on and so forth, very, very much so worthy champion take up to rank 4. I also think Mr. Negative is a champion that benefits highly from being rank 4, and I definitely recommend him, especially if you don't run Liquid Courage Double Edge. And additionally, perhaps Spider-Man 2099. Now, Spider-Man 2099 would kind of make sense with Liquid Courage Double Edge as well, if you primarily focus on using him for Alliance War boss killing. However, if you do run Liquid Courage and Double Edge, then I think in Science class, the kind of clear best option probably is Immortal Abomination or perhaps Immortal Hulk at the moment. I do not necessarily think that I would feel confident taking Human Torch right now as my first rank 4 champion or second one. And these are kind of like the most appropriate options from Science class specifically. But again, remember, we have the privilege of not being bound to a Science class, because if you're going to be able to rank 4 a champion, chances are you will be able to rank 4 any champion, not just Science. So we can move on to Skill. And in Skill class, it's actually kind of there are 4 clear, obvious choices for great first rank 4 options. I think by far the best rank 4 option is Nick Fury, even if you run Liquid Courage Double Edge. I think here the most crucial, most important part is whether you have Deep Wounds unlocked. This is a must. I don't recommend going with him as your first rank 4 if you don't have Deep Wounds maxed. But Nick Fury, I think overall is the best skill champion, and also Nick Fury has champion mechanics that make that rank 4 more useful than many other champions would, because rank 4 will give you extra health. And as we know, if you use Nick Fury after his life model decoy has been destroyed, you basically operate there about a 30% health pool mark. And therefore, you have a lot less room for error. Increasing that actual amount of health that you have at a point when you're at 30% is super important. Just means that you're going to be able to take that much more chip damage, and you're going to have that much more easier mind as you are playing. Additionally to that, I think Kingpin is a great rank 4 because of how amazing he is. Unfortunately, he does not have the highest prestige, and therefore that is, out of all the skill options that I'm going to recommend, Kingpin is likely, unfortunately, in the 4th place, if Nick Fury is in the 1st. But the 2 solid mid-tier options for me would be Mole-Man. I think Mole-Man's fantastic, phenomenal, especially if you run Liquid Courage Double Edge. Mole-Man is likely the best skill option, possibly, because Mole-Man also gains extra value for every fight that he's able to burst down very quickly. An ideal kind of quest fight with Mole Man is parry, heavy, get hit on a block, and finish the fight in 2 combos in a level 1. And obviously having as much damage within that burst is just going to make Mole Man that much more effective. So I do think Mole Man is a great option, as well as Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi is obviously a utility powerhouse. A lot of people will like this champion at rank 4. And the upside of Shang-Chi is that he runs essentially perfectly with Liquid Courage and without it as well. So I think these 4 are the obvious kind of like skill options, of whom I still contend that Nick Fury is likely the best one. Potentially Mole Man is the second best one. Right, let's move on to the Mutant class. And Mutant class actually doesn't have that separation in between which champions I would recommend to rank 4 first. Either or, if you are running Liquid Courage or not, I still recommend the same 2 champions as your top options. My top option is Apocalypse. If you have him awakened and high sig, or if you're ready to sig 200 him, obviously, Apocalypse is a phenomenal first rank 4 champion. How he's a utility powerhouse. he's valuable in virtually every game mode. He's valuable in virtually every game mode. So I do think that Apocalypse is arguably the best rank 4 mutant option. And then we have Kitty Pryde, who I also think is, you know, thereabouts as good of a rank 4 option. Because Kitty Pryde obviously is doing incredible things and is taking over the contest at the moment, and is shooting to the top of the best mutant list very quickly also. And again, I'd still recommend these same 2 champions in mutant class. With or without Liquid Courage, they're definitely amazing options. Moving on, tech class. The best tech champions in my personal recommendation. Again, as I said, you'd have to be very strongly into Ghost, in my opinion, right now to pick Ghost as your first rank 4. I don't think it is the smartest decision, but if you love Ghost, rank her up. Phenomenal champion. That's purely kind of because of the prestige reasons. Still a great option though. I think the best options in tech class are Warlock. Warlock is utility powerhouse. Warlock is also likely set to have a huge impact for Battlegrounds. He already is a massive Alliance War option, and in general, he just sorts out a ton of different content. Warlock's also one of those champions that's a utility powerhouse, but not necessarily a damage powerhouse. So he will definitely benefit more from that rank 4 than some champions who already have, you know, plenty in that department, like some of the next champions that I'm going to mention in case of Ultron. I do think Ultron is a damage powerhouse, and I do think the way Ultron is put together does not necessarily require him to go to rank 4 to finish out fights extremely quickly, so on and so forth. However, I do think that extra increase in combat power rate and all the utility that he also has in his kit would pretty much ensure that you do get great results out of a rank 4 Ultron. And I can see him being one of the top options for your initial rank ups, for sure. And then there is one more champion that deserves to be mentioned. A champion that is likely going to be my next rank 4, because he's been putting in a ton of work for me. He has a very significant role in my roster and Alliance War Offense, which is the most competitive game mode at the moment in game, and it makes sense that, you know, I focus on that personally. And on top of that, he's like 16 prestige, so he's gonna do quite well for me in aspect of prestige as well. So I do think Nimrod is also one of the better options. At the end of this, I'm gonna give you guys my personal top 3 or top 5, but we still have 2 classes to go through to. And in Cosmic class, we have kind of a clear winner, in my opinion. Hercules is the best Cosmic champion to take up to rank 4, because prestige and, again, presence in pretty much every game mode is useful for everything. And from personal experience, I can say I use him every day and I benefit from him every day. And I couldn't be happier with my decision to rank up Hercules. Absolutely amazing. With or without Liquid Courage Double Edge, especially if you have him awakened, a top tier option. Now, in Cosmic class, my second recommendations will again depend whether you're running Liquid Courage Double Edge. If you're running Liquid Courage Double Edge all the time, and if you personally enjoy Corvus, I do think he is one of the better champions to take up quite early on, because he's one of those champions that benefit the most of extra attack. Corvus's value in any content often is determined whether you are able to finish fights efficiently within first 20 glaive charges. It's just how it is. Because we all know, once glaive charges are spent, you're in for a completely different fight. If you can't finish the fight with first 20 glaive charges, then most of the time there will be better options for those fights. And with Corvus, every extra ounce of damage and reach is extremely helpful. But there is a second aspect to Corvus as well, and that is increasing combat power rate. Taking up champion 2 rank 4 will let you get to that level 2 ever so quicker, which often will be fight finisher, which is all that important for Corvus. So I do think Corvus is still a phenomenal rank 4 option, especially if you don't have, let's say, Hercules, and you still run Liquid Courage Double Edge pretty much all the time. I think it's still a great option. I know some people will disagree. And if you don't run Liquid Courage Double Edge, then I think overall, again, unfortunately, this kind of goes against the prestige talk, but in Cosmic class, I think it's Hyperion. I don't think there is another champion besides Hercules, maybe Cosmic Ghost Rider, that can fully showcase their power without Liquid Courage Double Edge. Now, CMM, you really wanted Liquid Courage Double Edge. Angela, you wanted 2. And then we have Null, definitely needs Liquid Courage Double Edge. So there I would go with Hyperion if you definitely don't care about the prestige aspect, or most kind of middle of the ground option would be Cosmic Ghost Rider, obviously if you enjoy the champion. But the Cosmic class is definitely a bit trickier than that. And Mystic class, Mystic class is again split very powerfully in between the two. I do think Dr. Doom is overall the best rank 4 if you don't run Liquid Courage Double Edge. And alongside Dr. Doom, I think if you don't run Liquid Courage Double Edge is Tigra. I think Tigra is also an amazing champion to take up as your first rank 4, especially with the amount of troublesome fights that she can answer. However, if you do run Liquid Courage Double Edge, then I think it's quite easy. Claire, phenomenal, and Diablo, also phenomenal. I think those 4 champions are very kind of like evenly split in 2 sides based on your preferences, based on your masteries. I think Doom and Tigra for non-recall players, and Diablo and Claire for Liquid Courage Double Edge players. All of these champions combined, this is going to be the final overall, totally, like, you know, out of all the classes, assuming you have all of these champions, which are my personal top 5 initial rank 4s. And keep in mind that will depend on what kind of mastery setups you run. For every champion that I will name here, I will assume that you run mastery setup that is appropriate to them. So if I'm going to mention Dr. Doom, I'm going to assume you run Mystic Dispersion and no recoil. If I'm going to mention Hercules or something else, then I'm going to assume that you are running Liquid Courage Double Edge, for instance. And I do think that top spot, the best champion in the game at the moment, from every single aspect considered, to take up to rank 4 is Hercules. He falls within top 5 in prestige. He's viable in virtually every game mode at the moment. And he's a champion you will benefit from every single day. He's not necessarily a specialist. He's just a bulldozing tank. I do think Hercules is the best champion at the moment in the game to take to rank 4 as your first one. Second champion actually is not going to be Dr. Doom. Because again, I have a rank 4 Dr. Doom, and for me personally, I don't really get that much benefit from him. I'm still going to place him in top 5. But spot number 2, for most people, it's likely going to be Apocalypse. That's how influential I think Apocalypse is right now. And again, he's a champion that just plays vital role in every single game mode. He's also bound to be an absolute pain in Battlegrounds. And I think in second spot, I'm definitely putting Apocalypse. Spot number three, I'll currently give to Nick Fury. Because he's, again, the champion that under ideal circumstances benefits the most from it. Also, Nick Fury has a potential to pretty much nuke any difficult fight, or most of these difficult fights. And he can, you know, be virtually irreplaceable for a single fight in a quest. And he's great for, you know, casual questing too. So I do think Nick Fury would be my overall third pick in the game for your first rank 4. My fourth pick is going to go to Dr. Doom. I do think that if you run Perfect Mastery setup, Dr. Doom, having him at rank 4, just, again, hits all the boxes. No people use him for a Q, no people use him for a W, obviously. He's a good defender. He's inevitably going to be powerful in Battlegrounds. And again, he is going to just be able to influence your account in every game mode. But you need to be very clear that you're not running Liquid Courage Double Edge for most of the time like I do. And fifth best pick is going to be Kitty Pryde. I do think reasons are fairly similar. I do think Kitty Pryde is just a bit more newer and might eventually, you know, earn herself a higher spot. But I do think of Kitty Pryde as somebody who is establishing her role, her importance in more and more game modes, and enabling people to do stupider and crazier things. Obviously, closely followed would also be like Tigra and Nimrod as absolute top options. But in fifth spot, I am going to place Kitty Pryde because, yeah, I think she just fits pretty much everything people would want from a champion as one of their rank 4s. So again, to finish this video out, the best champion in the game, my opinion, to take to rank 4 initially under ideal mastery setup and stuff like that, is Hercules. Hercules is the goat of the goats. He's just doing everything in the game for everyone. The second pick is APOC. Because the man's putting in work in every single game mode with unique abilities. And even if he's not necessarily the best option for some fights, he often can be one of the better options still. Then we have, where is the skill class? Then we have Nick Fury, spot number 3, because of his unique characteristics and life model decoy health penalty. I think he's up there. Then we will have Dr. Doom. I do think that we can't ignore his power in virtually every game mode. And then past that, we need to go back to Mutant class and find Kitty Pryde, because I do think Kitty Pryde gets spot number 5. Spots number 6 and 7 would likely go to like Tigra and Nimrod. And Mr. Fantastic, probably at 8. So here we are. I hope this video has been helpful. Some of you, let me know. And hit that like, sub, and all the other good buttons. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about